Hello everyone, welcome back to How to Live the Warrior Path. My name is Conrad Rogas with the Warrior Path series. Let's go right into it. This episode is episode 4. It's about the higher solution. That's what I call it, because the last episode was already about the solution. I started out with how to live the warrior path, what it means. Then the problem, which was the Malkuth position. It was the Wheel of Fortune card. What's wrong with the world? What's wrong with us? Then it was the solution, which is the Hermit card, which is basically the whole path of the whole mindset of how to approach this whole process of self-mastery. And this is a jump to the higher solution. It's about sacred union, and it's about philosophical beauty and the embodiment of natural principles. So as the series progresses, I'm going to talk about the two paths that the true warrior can take, right? And it's not really that you could take one or the other, but this represents the choices that we have as we journey through life. There are an infinite amount of possibilities in life, but when we are honest with ourselves and are able to break down ideas into the simplest forms, there are only ever choices that we can ever make in any given situation, and the choice is yes or no, and life is really just that simple. I mention this though because this episode is about the union and reunion between these two choices, right? And the union between the masculine and feminine. And that's really kind of jumping ahead, because I'm going to talk about their reunion without actually talking about what they are. But I presented this way a year ago when I made the full-length presentation, and I'm still going to present it this way because I don't want to just go over the individual techniques and paths and specifics of the warrior path without explaining the entirety of it, the whole essence first. So that's why I'm going to this episode, the higher solution. I said in the past episode, that episode about the solution, that it was the most important one of the whole warrior path series. If you did have to keep one as a standalone and throw all the other ones away, it would have been that one that I just did. If they could be featured as a standalone, which they shouldn't, but that would have been the one. So this one is the deepest. It's the most personal, and honestly, no warrior path video that I'll ever make will be higher than this one for me. That's why I call it the higher solution. It's kind of a continuation of the last one, but this is really the deep stuff at the core level. But it is advanced stuff. The tarot card that represents this one is the Lover's card. And yes, this is about harmony between the masculine and feminine. That's what this is about. Many people say that it's about balancing the masculine and feminine, right? Like balancing the active and passive aspect of us. But I think balance is a wrong word and a wrong way to think about it, because the word balance suggests bringing these energies to like an inert equilibrium, having them be even and standing. And on some level that is true, but this is really all about imbalance, right? Men and women are at their highest, they're most fulfilled when they complement each other, not compete with or level with. It's actually not about equilibrium in that sense. And that's the way this episode should be viewed. In a journey for truth and mastery, you don't take one option 50% of the time and the other option 50% of the time. That will actually lead to ignorance and slavery. Because a warrior knows which choice to make in our particular situation, and he makes that choice 100% of the time. But since we're talking about the lovers, I'm going to throw in a concept that I will do a full presentation on eventually, probably next year. I'm working on a lot of big projects right now. And the whole point of that presentation is that the number that actually defines and describes and symbolizes love is 51, as in 51% out of 100. If you show somebody 51% like in a glass, it'll look like a half full glass. It'll look like 50-50 to the naked eye. And that's the backbone of love and I am talking about like between two people as well. All kinds of love, it applies to it. And 50-50 is the backbone of love, because it represents respecting the other person just as much as you respect yourself, and wanting to make them happy while also being happy to the fullest yourself. But in love, there should always be an imbalance. And that means that someone is always slightly sacrificing for the other or being the beneficiary of that sacrifice and enjoying that, right? So that means that there's always somebody leading the dance or following. And these roles switch. It's not always the same person. These roles are switching. And they should change and switch freely according to each specific predicament, right? 51 is the number that explains that perfectly. And really, it's a bit scary actually, because there's no way that a 27-year-old single male should be teaching people about love, especially not me, if you know me. But this is true, and that's why I think this presentation is important, and I will do it. So what is this aspect of the warrior path actually all about? It's about the philosophical journey, and that journey of harmony is about acquiring natural principles, learning what they are, and living according to them. Okay? So when it comes right down to it, the warrior is actually inseparable from the philosopher. It's the same thing. A warrior is a philosopher, a lover of wisdom, one who has united the lovers, as in the lover's card. So this journey, you start off helpless. You start off like a child, powerless. Okay? Then you go in through the journey. You do the hermit stage. You're doing through diligent, hard daily work. You're going to gain knowledge. You're going to begin to come out of the darkness, crawl out of it slowly. But as you apply yourself in your daily life, you're going to get humbled every day. You're going to see your weaknesses if you're honest with yourself. And you're going to push to exhaustion. By pushing to exhaustion, okay, by really pushing yourself, you're going to be every day confronting your own weakness and fragility, and you should. And this is fine. It's fine to be defeated every day, as long as you're honest with yourself and you're trying to do better the next day. So as you do that, as you develop, you become more aware of life and of nature, not just yourself, but you apply this to everything else. You become more aware of the rules and principles that govern everything around you. So therefore you become, through that weakness and fragility and exhaustion, you become more grateful and appreciative of everything in the universe. So you keep doing that, but you're still getting better and better. And then as you approach mastery, the warrior, you begin to recognize life's laws everywhere and peeling away the layers, peeling away the illusions until only the truth remains. And when you get down to it, the truth that remains, the philosophy of truth, the truth's philosophy is natural law. It's the system that governs human behavior and human morality, because it is about us. It's about human beings. And when you get right down to it, what is the ultimate truth that we can actually, extrapolate and narrow it down to? It's the two principles. It's the two lovers. It's the non-aggression principle and it's the self-defense principle. And it's not just that. It goes deeper than this. But to break it down to a sentence that actually can be put forth like a math equation, that's the equation that comes out. That doesn't mean it's the totality of it. But this is the system that governs us. This is the system that, this is the blood that flows through our veins. The feminine is the non-aggression principle, the gentleness, the serenity, and then the self-defense principle, which is the will and the self-respect, really, the masculine aspect. And the sacred union of these is all about the sacred union within is finding that code of living honorably. And that's what the samurais tried to do. That's what the true martial artists tried to do. It's kind of what inspired the whole warrior path when I was coming up with this, a year and a half ago. And the true ancient martial arts would not be taught to just anybody. Not everybody would be taught these secrets. You had to display that you were actually worthy of wielding such a power. And the occult knowledge was the same way. That's why you had the occult initiations. So all of these things that I talk about, these deep philosophies, they were part of it. we've lost this, right? This is actually all about the hero's journey. And the hero in any journey, the hero always has a why. The hero knows what he's doing and why he's doing it. And that's what the warrior path is all about. And I'll end that there. And moving forward, that now we're going to split up. Now we're going to talk the actual specifics. We're going to talk about the two paths that the warrior can take, is when you say yes and when you say no. So now that we know that it's all about harmony, and you never really choose, you never take one or take the other. The warrior doesn't just have a shield or just have a sword. You have both. And that'll be it. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next episode.